Loyalty for Life, you're bringing us a brand new deck profile. This round we got Rockets. Now, of course, if you've been following this channel for a while, you guys will probably know I love Rockets. They're my favorite Vrains archetype, and I've been ecstatically waiting for this new deck, and it's so good. The new structure deck adds so much to the archetype and allows it to actually be a functional archetype now. Granted, it still heavily relies on the Guard Dragon engine. Hopefully that gets hit soon, Konami. But I digress. This deck, I love it. So, yeah. I'm just gonna jump right on into it, and if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave your comments down below. I do read them. I may not always respond, but I do read them. And hey, while you're down there, why don't you give this video a like and a share? It goes a long way to helping out my channel. So first and foremost, with the deck profile, we got triple Absol Router Dragon. This thing is so freaking good. If you control a rocket monster, you can just summon him to your field once per turn, and also once per turn if he's sent to the graveyard, you can add a rocket from your deck to your hand. Very easy to summon, very easy to get out, and very easy to trigger his effect Search. Anytime he is sent from the field to the graveyard, or anywhere to the graveyard, you get to search out a rocket. So if you send it to the graveyard with Fool's Burial, if you discard him, if you link away with him, if you synchro with him, you get the effect to search. And that is great. It is a hard once per turn, but still worth playing 3 of, because rockets themselves have a really hard time getting multiple monsters on the field without using other stuff. So being able to use something like this to get more monsters on the field is really handy. Granted, funnily enough, there's not a huge number of rockets that you actually want to search, because most of the time you want to keep them in your deck to use with like quick launch or their summoning effects. Moving on, we got triple Silver Rocket Dragon. Kind of like the Silver Bullet of the deck. I've been kind of flip-flopping between 2 and 3 of him. He's the highest in terms of stats and everything. He's 1900, and he's just got a really good effect in general. He, like all rockets, summons another rocket from your deck if he was destroyed by battle or card effect during the end phase of that turn. Also, like all rockets, he has an effect where if he's targeted for the effect of a link monster, you can activate this effect to destroy him and then do something, like with the other rockets. For Silver Rocket, his unique effect is to look at your opponent's extra deck and banish 1 card out of their extra deck. This card is so good, especially going first, because then you can figure out what your opponent is playing, and then you can also, of course, get rid of their combo pieces or their boss monster, anything that you think that might be annoying enough to really warrant getting rid of. And of course, during the end phase, you'll get a free special summon. Really great card overall. Speaking of really good cards overall, we got triple Magna Rocket Dragon. Magna Rocket Dragon, of course, has the same general effects. You know, he summons another dude. He has a quick effect on targeting, and basically his unique effect is to destroy himself and then send 1 monster your opponent controls to the graveyard. Again, another really great card, and because it's a quick effect and most of the Boro monsters are quick effects, you're going to be able to just get a free pop during your opponent's turn or during your turn, so they can get rid of stuff, and then of course get another monster during the end phase. He's got pretty good stats too, 2100 with the field spell out, but 1800 is not bad either. Next up, we got triple Rocket Tracer. Here's the big guy. And does it bother anybody else that he doesn't have dragon at the end of his name? Every other rocket monster has dragon at the end of the name, but not him. Anyway, so Rocket Tracer. 1600 attack, level 4, 1000 defense. Okay stats all around. The best thing about him though is his level in terms of that. But however, his effect is just amazing. So unlike the other rockets, he does not have the effect to summon another dude during the end phase. But however, during either player's turn as a quick effect, he can pop another face-up card you control, or I think he can even pop himself, right? Yeah, you can target 1 face-up card you control, destroy it, and then summon another rocket from your deck. However, you're locked into always being able to summon dark monsters for the rest of the turn. That kind of sucks that you can't summon like anything else during the end phase, during the rest of the turn. But however, most of what you play in the deck is dark, so you don't really care too much. It just gets in the way of 1 link monster and 1 synchro, but you can easily get those out without having to make him first. This thing is just absolutely great. Gets you another monster on the field, gets you to your targets and everything, and with him and another guy, you can easily get out Magna Rocket or Silver Rocket to instantly go into a level 8 synchro, like Boro Load Savage Dragon, or into any of the various link monsters out there. Next up, I got triple Auto Rocket Dragon. This is another one that I've been kind of flip-flopping between 2 and 3 of. So he's basically the inverse of Magna Rocket Dragon. Magna Rocket Dragon gets rid of monsters, Auto Rocket Dragon gets rid of spells and traps. It sends, doesn't destroy. Really good card overall. The big thing is that back row isn't a huge thing, you know, like other than like if you're doing against sub-terror decks or something. But however, I do feel like it's still worth playing multiple copies of them. Like really 2 or 3 is really good, and I've been kind of flip-flopping between that. Next up, I got 2 Gateway Dragon. Gateway Dragon is a card that I feel like a lot of people have been underestimating because this thing is so good. So, especially going second. So he has a Cyber Dragon-esque effect where if your opponent controls a Link monster, and if your opponent controls a Link monster, you can just plop them on the field. It's a free special summon once per turn, hard once per turn, on the free special summon off of his effect. If your opponent controls a Link monster, that's not even if you don't. It's just if your opponent has a Link monster, you can summon him to your field. Then once per turn, you can special summon. 1 level 4 lower dark dragon monster from your hand. Now that is a non-one, that's not a hard once per turn. His special summoning effect to summon himself from the hand is a hard once per turn. But his effect to summon a dude from your hand is not a hard once per turn. So if you get him out and then use his effect and then get another copy of him out, you can easily spam the board with more monsters from your hand. Now granted, it is from your hand, it's not like from the deck or anything crazy like that, but however, considering how many monsters I'm playing, it's not too hard to have multiple Dark Dragons in my hand and everything. So it's a really good card to use in combination with like Red MD, because just constantly bringing this thing back with Red MD, after constantly bringing him back with like the Guard Dragons, it gets into some pretty nutty plays with how much spamming you can do. It's crazy. Like if Maxi was still around, this deck would easily be able to deck out somebody. Next up, I got 2 Defrag Dragon. And this is a card that I know is becoming pretty popular in Thunder Dragon decks, but I still really like them in Rockets as well, because as I've mentioned before, Rockets don't have a lot of easy ways of getting multiple monsters on the field themselves, mostly because none of them have inherent special summoning effects outside of their destruction effects or Rocket Tracer Dragons. So being able to just plop a monster on field for discarding a dude, which you can then bring back with like Pisty or something, is really nice as well. He has another effect that comes up once in a blue moon, but it is nice that it's there, where if you have 3 monsters of the same name in your graveyard, you can banish them, then summon himself from the graveyard. Again, it's once in a blue moon, but it is nice that it's there. Next up, we got 1 Red MD, the card that they will probably ban instead of the Guard Dragons, because let's be honest, it's Konami. Then I got 1 Exploder Rocket Dragon. I know this is one of the less popular rockets, but I still really like this thing. So basically, he has the same standard rocket jargon where if he's destroyed, you can summon another rocket from your deck during the end phase. But then as his unique effect, if he's targeted by the effect of a Link monster, you can destroy him and then inflict 2,000 damage to both players. Now, that's a lot of damage for one thing, and that can easily close out a game if you're getting close to life point count. But also, if you're in time, you can do this, do damage to your opponent, and then just make sure that they don't do any more damage to you. Hopefully they'll be lower than you, because you'll be able to, do more damage to them faster. So it is a really good card overall for time and for closing out games. I know this is not like a crazy popular card. Also, I'm only playing 1 because he is a level 7 for some ungodly reason. But however, I still think he's worth playing 1 of. Speaking of, same thing with Metal Rocket Dragon. His unique effect is if he's targeted, you can pop him, destroy all monsters. Sorry, I believe it's actually all cards, right? Yeah, destroy all your opponent's cards in the column this card was in. This card is really stupid if you destroy them in one of the columns that the extra monster zones are in, because then you can pop upwards of 3 cards easily. But on average, it'll usually only be 1 or 2. He's just basically a worse Magna Rocket Dragon at that point. 1 Shell Rocket Dragon, another kind of like Magna Rocket-esque monster, where you can destroy him after he's targeted, destroy the monster in the same column as him that's on your opponent's side of the field, and then he destroys the monsters in the adjacent columns as well. It's kind of like firing a mortar at your opponent, which is, I think, what the general idea is. Then 1 Anesthetic Rocket. This card is okay. The big thing is that his unique effect is that you can destroy him, negate a card of effect on the field until the end of the turn. Wait, is it? Let's see. Target 1 face-up monster in the field. It's unable to attack and also has its effects negated. So it's not even... Yeah, it's not even until the end of the turn, it's just permanent. That monster cannot activate its effect and it's cannot attack. It's a nice effect, it's pretty good overall, but it's only usable on monster effects, and that's nice and all, but you're more worried about the spells and traps that your opponent has. In all honesty, I guess monster effects too. It's better going first. And then finally 1 Rocket Synchron. This little dude is pretty awesome. He's a level 1 tuner, 0 attack, 0 defense. When he's normal summoned, you can target one level 5 or higher monster in your graveyard, spells to summon it, but however, you cannot summon anything except for darks for the rest of the turn. So it has to be a level 5 or higher dark dragon monster in your graveyard. And then, yeah, its effects negated, destroyed during the end phase. Also, you cannot summon monsters from the extract for the rest of the turn except for dark monsters. So the big thing is that you normal summon him, bring out either Exploder Rocket Dragon or, oh god, what was his name? Absol Rooter Dragon, and then just synchro into a level 8 Dark Synchro Dragon, which is usually going to be like Boro Load Savage Dragon or like Beals or something. So pretty good overall for that. Next up for the spells and traps. First and foremost, I got triple boot sector launch. As I've mentioned several times already, rockets suck in terms of getting multiple monsters on the field by themselves. They have no inherent way of doing it, and they need to rely on other things in order to get multiple monsters out. Like for instance, Absol Router Dragon, Rocket Tracer, the Guard Dragon Continuous Spell, which we'll get to here in a minute, and of course their field spell, Boot Sector Launch. Now once we get Striker Dragon, you can easily cut this down to 1 or 2 copies. But however, it is absolutely vital at the moment for actually allowing this deck to play. So first and foremost, all rockets gain 300 attack and defense. It's not a crazy amount, but it actually does help out, especially with the higher attack point guys, making Silver Rocket Dragon 2200 attack and Magna Rocket Dragon 2100 attack. And hilariously, it makes Anesthetic Rocket 2500 defense, which makes her some funny shenanigans if your opponent running into it, but I digress. So then it has 2 other effects, which you can only use one or the other each once a turn. You cannot use both. The first effect is that once per turn, you can summon 2 rockets from your hand in defense position. Cool. But then the second effect, if your opponent has more monsters than you, you can summon rockets with different names from your graveyard equal to the deficit. So basically, if your opponent has 4 and you don't have any, you get to summon 4 rockets from your graveyard with different names from your graveyard in defense position. And being able to basically just be a mass soul charge like that once per turn in a field spell is really good. It helps make up for the amount of investment you need in order to make Boro Load, which granted is not that much nowadays thanks to the Guard Dragons, and it's just so good. Moving on, we got World Legacy Guard Dragon. This card is stupid. You activate it, target a level, I think it's a level 4 or lower. Yeah, level 4 or lower dragon monster in your graveyard, and either special summon it or add it to your hand. Then once per turn, you can target one dragon you control, move it to another zone. Zone moving is especially important for like the Guard Dragons and everything. So this card is absolutely necessary for the deck in order to work as it needs to. Next up, we got Triple Quick Launch. It's a free special summon from the deck, and not once per turn either, and it can summon during your player's turn. It's great. 2 Squib Draw. I've been kind of flip-flopping between 2 and 3. I feel like that with it at 2 right now, it's pretty nice. Basically, you target one rocket you control, pop it, draw 2 cards. Not once per turn. Same thing with Quick Launch. Really good card overall. I could see playing 3 as well, or playing 2. I've seen a few people play only 1, but I feel like that's not enough, especially given the fact that rockets don't have a way to search their spells and traps, so you need to rely on draw power and such. Moving on, I got 2 Rapid Trigger Diffusion spell for Boro Load Furious Dragon, or whatever he's called. I can't remember what his TCG name. Oh yeah, it is Furious Dragon, okay. So yeah, this card's pretty good. You destroy dragons you controlled, destroy monsters you control, listed on the fusion material for a dark fusion monster. Like for instance, Boro Load Furious Dragon, who is a dark dragon fusion monster. And so yeah, you destroy your rockets, you get to summon your dude, and then you get to summon more dudes during the end phase. It's pretty good. The only caveat is that the monster you summon cannot attack monsters except for extract monsters. Well, monsters summoned from the extract. But however, to make up for that, it's also unaffected by extract monster effects. So it's pretty good overall. Again, the big issue with the rocket spell and trap cards is they are not searchable in any way whatsoever at the moment. Now granted, Boot Sector Launch does become searchable with Striker Dragon coming out in the next set. But however, the other cards still need to be searched, which is why I'm playing 2, even though I don't play 1 Furious Dragon. 1 Terraforming, because Striker Dragon's not legal yet. Then 1 Fool's Burial to get Absol Router Dragon in a graveyard and get a free search. And that's it for the main deck. Part of my cough, allergies. On to the extract, 1 Beals. Beals is pretty good still. You know, this thing's annoying, just kind of can win games. 1 Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon to be summoned off of Argapane from time to time. More often than not, though, off of Argapane, you're going to be summoning Hot Red Dragon Archfiend because he negates spells and traps. 1 Borreload Savage Dragon because this thing is stupid as hell. Just, hey, I get to negate anything. It's so good, and he gains a crap ton of attack power too. 1 Guard Dragon Pisty, 1 Guard Dragon LP, and 1 Guard Dragon Argapane, or sorry, Agrapane. I always thought it was Argapane, whatever. So yeah, really, the Guard Dragons are all pretty stupid. Honestly, if they were gonna ban anybody, it's LP, because summoning from deck is just absurd. For this deck, it doesn't negate the effects or anything. You get to summon out your Red MD and get it for free, and it's just really stupid and results in a lot of stupid combos. And yeah, so yeah, if you don't know, LP summons from deck, Pisty summons from graveyard or banished, and Argapane lets you summon any dragon from your extra deck. Yeah, really nutty combos here with these guys. Next up, 1 Heretic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. Just being a once per turn bounce, it's just so good. And also its link arrows are pretty good, and it's generic too, just needing 2 dragons. 1 Quad Boral Dragon, its effect is really good, being able to let you just pop any monster on the field at a cost of a discard. He's super generic too, just needing a rocket plus any other dragon or any number, you know, it doesn't, you know, it's any 2 dragons and at least 1 rocket. And also if you destroy a link monster, you get summon rockets in your graveyard equal to its link arrows. It's such a stupid card, I love it. Then I got 1 Delvingerous Dragon. I know this card has kind of been overlooked too. I've been looking at some builds and people are overlooking this card big time. Delvingerous Dragon is a 1600 link 2 that needs just 2 Dark Dragons to go into. Its arrows are just kind of okay. The big one is that it has a downward pointing arrow like Argapane, so you can make him and actually be able to do stuff. And the big thing about him, he has 2 effects, one of which is completely irrelevant, where during the end phase of your opponent's turn, you get to pop a monster they control that didn't attack. Okay, cool. But the bigger thing is, if it's in your graveyard and you special summon a rocket, you can special summon him from your graveyard, but banish him if he leaves the field. So you make him, and then you link him off, and then you go through your plays, you activate Quick Launch, or Roll Legacy Guard Dragon, or Boot Sector Launch, any of those, or heck, during the end phase, you get to special summon a dude off of one of your rockets, any of those, and then you just summon him from your graveyard. And of course he's still a link too, so therefore he makes for easy link fodder. It is such a good card and allows you to easily make the big guys a lot easier. Really great card overall. 1 Booster Dragon. I'm kind of flip-flopping between this guy because he does need 2 rockets in specific, which results in some really obnoxious inconveniences, but however, he is a good card overall. His effect is pretty simple. Once per turn you can target a monster in the field, it gains 500 attack and defense. That's clearly just to trigger the rocket effects to be able to pop something or do whatever. And then if he is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you get to target any of your Dark Dragons in your graveyard and any of your other dragons in your graveyard and special summon it. Pretty good card overall. It's okay. It's not the craziest thing in the world, but it is pretty good. It has good rank arrows, lets you trigger your lets you trigger your rocket effects, and is just an overall pretty good card. There are some other better options as well. Some stuff that I'm still testing out, but I found that this thing is still pretty useful from time to time, so I'm keeping one of them right now for this current build. We'll probably switch him out for Striker Dragon whenever he comes out though. 1 Triple Burst Dragon, so happy he got his reprint. I used to have an Ultra, but I have no idea what happened to him. This thing's pretty good. 2400 attack, negates battle effects and everything. Really good for that Sky Striker matchup and everything. I think he does piercing too, I can't remember. But the big thing is that he's a link 3 of good arrows, so yeah. Then 1 Boral Guard Dragon. I know I'm probably gonna get like yelled at for this, but I don't have the money for Boral Sword Dragon at the moment. If you're wondering, I've picked up the Roll Legacy Guard Dragons before they skyrocketed. I had no idea they were 20 bucks already. But whenever Boral Sword Dragon gets his reprint, I will definitely be replacing Boral Guard for Boral Sword. But you could play either or, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. 1 Boral Load Dragon, because hey, this thing's pretty good. is the boss monster deck. You kind of need him. And then one Borreload Furious Dragon, because, hey, this thing is stupid. Just being a quick effect pop a monster while 2 monsters on the field, and then if he dies, you can banish him from your graveyard, summon any of your dudes from your graveyard. Really good card overall. So that's the deck profile. As I've mentioned, I love Rockets. They are one of my absolute favorite archetypes from the Vrains era. They are such an interesting archetype. I love how like they are meant to be like the ammunition for the big guys. You know, the Borreloads are supposed to be like the guns and everything, and it's just so cool. I love this deck. I love the idea of how it's supposed to play, and I really hope that Konami gives them some really much needed support. They need more inherent ways of getting monsters on the field. They need ways to search out their spells and traps, which is going to be a pain in the butt because none of them have Rocket in the name. So they're gonna have to like make it to where like, oh, add 1 spell or trap card that lists Rocket in the card text, which is gonna be annoying. So I feel like there's a lot of stuff that Konami can do to make Rockets better as an archetype so that they don't have to rely on the Guard Dragon engine. Because really at the end of the day right now, this deck is Guard Dragon spam, you know, and I'm not the biggest fan of that playstyle, but however, the Guard Dragons make this deck so much better and make them actually playable, so I'm willing to bear with it right now until I can focus more on the other aspect of the deck and everything. So what do you guys think of Rockets? What do you think of the Rocket Guard Dragon deck? Do you think that the build, or do you think that my build is any good? What's your opinions? Rate, comment, and subscribe down below. Thank you all for watching. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. See y'all later. Peace out and goodbye.